Chosen one, the very storm that's shaking your foundation right now is not your enemy. It's your revealer. Stop fighting the chaos long enough to see this truth. The winds aren't here to knock you down. They're here to show you who's been standing guard over your life all along. Don't scroll away from this moment. Your spirit led you here because heaven knew you needed to hear what's coming next. This isn't another message about enduring hardship. This is about recognizing the divine assignment that's been activated around you. What if everything falling apart is actually falling into place? What if the very battle that's exhausting you is the same battle that's positioning divine forces in your corner? If you dismiss this word, you'll miss the revelation of who's covering you when you can't see them. You'll miss understanding why this protection was released at this exact moment in your story. This message didn't find you by chance. Heaven timed this interruption for your breakthrough. You are not here by accident. What's ahead in this message will show you exactly why your divine guard was assigned now, and what it means for everything you're about to walk through. But first, here's what you need to understand. The storm isn't your punishment. It's your invitation to see invisible armies moving on your behalf. Let me show you why this changes everything. Hit the like button to declare, "I'm ready to receive this divine message." It takes just a second, but help spread this word to thousands of other chosen ones who need it right now. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly who's been assigned to your protection and why they were sent at this moment. The shift isn't coming, it's here. This moment is charged with divine purpose, and your spirit is about to receive confirmation of what heaven has already put in motion around your life. What's on your heart today? Leave your prayer request in the comments, and then take a moment to lift someone else up with words of encouragement. When you share your prayer, others will intercede for you. When you pray for someone else, God moves in ways you never imagined. Comment 444 if you're claiming divine protection, order, and stability over your life starting today. And to all our channel members, thank you for your continued support and faith. May God return it to you in peace, provision, and divine favor. If you're feeling the sheer, overwhelming weight of everything that's changing and shifting around you right now, that heavy, almost physical pressure, like the world itself is pressing down on your shoulders, seeking to diminish your very being, your natural, understandable instinct might be to pull back, to retreat deep into the quiet solitude of yourself, to hunker down and simply try to weather the storm in isolation. It's a primal human response, a deep-seated urge to protect ourselves from what feels like an impending impact, a collision with forces far beyond our control. Your spirit might cry out for respite, for a hiding place where the cacophony of change can't reach you, where the ground beneath your feet feels momentarily stable. But I want to invite you to consider doing the exact opposite, to embrace a different posture entirely, one that defies our initial fear-driven impulses. Lean in. Just lean right into it with an open heart, softened and receptive, and a spirit of trust that stretches beyond what your eyes can see or your mind can comprehend. You see, that very resistance you're feeling, that profound sense of being pushed and pulled by unseen, often unsettling forces, that feeling of inner friction, of your soul chafing against external pressure, it's not a sign that you've somehow gone off track, that you've made a wrong turn, or that you're out of alignment with where you're truly meant to be. In fact, my beloved friend, it's quite the opposite, a beautiful, bewildering paradox. This palpable tension, this churning in the deepest chambers of your spirit, this sensation of being pressed from all sides, is proof, tangible and irrefutable evidence that you are actively being positioned under a supernatural shield. This isn't just a comforting metaphor designed to ease your mind, to offer a temporary balm to your anxieties. It's a real, living, spiritual covering that honestly doesn't make a lick of logical sense to our finite human minds. Our brains, brilliant and intricate as they are exquisitely wired to figure things out, to analyze every variable, to predict every outcome, to dissect and categorize the world into neat, understandable compartments. And when we encounter something that defies all that, something that operates beyond the realm of cause and effect as we understand it, something that feels utterly unquantifiable, we tend to dismiss it, to label it as impossible, imaginary, or simply wishful thinking. But this shield, this profound spiritual protection, operates on a different plane entirely, a dimension woven with divine intention and power. It's not something you can see with your physical eyes or touch with your hands or logically explain with a diagram or a scientific equation, but I assure you it's more real, more effective, and more enduring than any physical barrier, any brick wall, or any steel door could ever hope to be. It's like being in the very epicenter of a swirling, chaotic, unrelenting storm, with winds howling like hungry wolves and rain lashing down with merciless fury, yet finding yourself inexplicably held within a calm, impenetrable bubble, untouched by the tempest's rage. It's not because the storm has miraculously stopped. No, the external chaos might still rage around you, visible and menacing. Rather, it's because something unseen, something infinitely powerful, something utterly divine, is holding it at bay, keeping you safe, perfectly still, right in its tumultuous eye. This, my friend, is the peace that transcends all understanding, the quiet assurance amidst the loudest of life's clamor, a profound gift from a loving God who never slumbers or sleeps. Think about that incredible story woven into the ancient sacred fabric of the Bible, the one about the prophet Elisha and his young, terrified servant. Can you truly imagine that chilling sight? The one that greeted the servant's eyes when he awoke that morning, rubbing the sleep from his weary lids and stepping out into the breaking dawn. The city, their home, their sanctuary, completely surrounded by a massive, hostile army. The enemy's chariots and horses stretching as far as the eye could see, a terrifying, overwhelming force, a sea of glinting armor and menacing weapons, their sheer numbers threatening to swallow everything in their path. The very air must have felt thick with dread, heavy with the stench of impending battle and the icy grip of fear. The servant's heart, I can only imagine, must have been pounding out of his chest, a frantic drum against his ribs as the chilling, desperate thought echoed in his mind, seizing his breath. This is it. We're doomed. There's no escape. All hope is lost. And he cried out to Elisha in utter despair, his voice laced with the raw, guttural terror of a man facing certain unavoidable destruction, his physical senses screaming hopelessness. But Elisha, standing there with a calm that could only come from a divine, unwavering perspective, a peace that defied the visible circumstances, simply prayed. He didn't pray for the army to miraculously disappear from the hills. He didn't ask for a sudden physical intervention that would alter the outward scene. No, he prayed for something far more profound, something that would change everything without altering a single physical circumstance. He prayed for God to open his servant's eyes. And when God, in his infinite mercy and power, answered that prayer, when the servant's spiritual eyes were finally opened, when the veil was lifted, he saw something truly astonishing, a sight that must have stolen his breath away and replaced his fear with an overwhelming sense of awe, a profound rush of divine revelation. He saw the hills around them, not empty and threatening, but completely covered, literally swarming with fiery chariots and horses, heaven's own mighty army, far greater in number, infinitely more powerful and utterly majestic, dwarfing anything the enemy had dared to assemble on the earthly plane. The physical threat, remember, hadn't vanished. The enemy army was still there, just as menacing, just as overwhelming to the natural eye. But now, the servant could perceive what was always present, what was already in place, unwavering and steadfast. Heaven's warriors, stationed strategically on their behalf, a supernatural defense that dwarfed any earthly threat, any human calculation, any perceived impossibility. This isn't just an ancient story whispered through generations, a comforting tale from a bygone era. It's a living, breathing illustration of what's happening for you right now, in this very moment. in your very own life. You might feel utterly surrounded, just like that servant feeling the walls closing in, the pressure mounting. But there's a deeper reality waiting patiently, yearning to be seen, a truth beyond what your natural eyes can behold, a truth that will redefine your entire perspective. Right now, in the swirling vortex of your life, I know that your inner storm may be howling just as loud, if not louder, than any external challenge you're facing. It's not merely the circumstances around you that create this tumult. It's the profound, often hidden turmoil within your own soul, the unseen battles fought in the quiet of your heart. Perhaps it's a hurricane of anxiety about your uncertain future, churning relentlessly in your gut, stealing your sleep, robbing you of peace, painting every tomorrow with shades of dread. Or maybe it's a relentless blizzard of self-doubt, those icy whispers constantly telling you that you're not capable, not worthy, not strong enough to overcome, that you're fundamentally flawed and perpetually inadequate. It could be a persistent, chilling wind of loneliness that sweeps through your spirit, making you feel utterly isolated, utterly invisible in a sea of faces, convinced that no one truly sees or understands the depth of your struggle. Fear, that loud, insistent, often deceptive voice, might be screaming in your ear, a relentless tormentor, telling you that you've been forgotten, that you've been abandoned, that you're navigating this treacherous, unknown path completely alone, with no one to guide or protect you, no safe harbor in sight. But here's the truth. The quiet, persistent whisper of faith that gently cuts through the clamor, like a shaft of sunlight piercing through a dense cloud cover. Angelic reinforcements are not just somewhere out there, in some distant ethereal realm, floating aimlessly in the heavens. They are stationed precisely where you've been most attacked, right at the point of your deepest vulnerability, at the very rawest nerve of your pain. Think about that for a moment, and let the profound comfort of it sink into the marrow of your bones, permeating every cell of your being, right in the thick of your personal battle, right at the point of your deepest pain, your most agonizing struggle, your most profound fear. That's exactly where heaven has deployed its strongest, most strategic defense, its most unwavering support. There is a grace surrounding you, a divine favor, that is so incredibly specific, so intimately tailored to your unique situation, to the very contours of your heart's landscape, to the precise nuances of your particular needs. It's not a generic, one-size-fits-all blanket of protection that covers everyone equally, a random scattering of blessings. No, it's tailor-made, custom-fitted for the unique contours of your life, your specific challenges, your particular wounds, your unspoken longings. It's as if heaven literally dispatched this protection with your name, your specific needs, your deepest longings, and your exact circumstances written clearly on its assignment scroll, a divine decree, a sacred mandate. You might feel utterly invisible in the grand scheme of things, like your struggles go unnoticed, like no one truly sees the burden you carry, yet you are completely surrounded, encircled by this unseen army, an impenetrable perimeter of divine love that holds you safe. You might feel unworthy, believing you haven't done enough, haven't been good enough, or somehow don't deserve this help, yet you are covered by a favor you absolutely didn't earn. A profound, unmerited gift from a loving, attentive God who delights in showing you his kindness. This is the amazing, beautiful paradox of faith. It's precisely when everything looks utterly lost, when you're at your lowest point, when your strength has completely failed, when your human resources are depleted, that God chooses to reveal with undeniable clarity who's truly fighting for you. He patiently waits for those moments when our human efforts have run out, when we've exhausted every last drop of our own striving, so that his supernatural intervention becomes undeniably clear, unmistakably divine, leaving no room for doubt or human pride. It is in your weakness that his strength is made perfect, shimmering through the cracks of your vulnerability. So I want you to sit with this question for a moment, to really let it sink into the deepest chambers of your spirit. allowing it to gently reframe your current reality, to shift your entire perspective. What if this pressing darkness you're experiencing, this heavy, confusing, difficult, often agonizing time, isn't actually a problem, a punishment, or a detour, but rather the very canvas on which God is meticulously painting His greatest, most undeniable proof of loyalty to your precious soul? What if this isn't an ending, a final, bleak chapter filled with despair, but a powerful setup for a magnificent masterpiece? A grand revelation of His goodness, a display of His unwavering commitment to you. Even when you deeply question if anyone truly sees your struggle, if anyone truly understands the silent battles you're fighting in the depths of your heart, the tears shed in secret, the unspoken fears that haunt your quiet moments, I promise you, with every fiber of my being, the Holy Spirit is already profoundly at work. He's not just passively observing from a distance, a detached spectator. He's actively orchestrating divine interventions, meticulously moving pieces into place, skillfully weaving intricate solutions, and opening pathways that seem impossible to our limited understanding, even while you might be physically resting or simply trying to catch your breath in the midst of the battle's relentless intensity. He is working behind the scenes, in the unseen realm, preparing your breakthrough. Think about Joseph, the dreamer from the Old Testament, a beacon of resilience, a testament to God's faithfulness. When he was languishing in a cold, lonely prison cell, accused falsely and utterly forgotten by those he had helped, his vibrant dreams seemingly shattered beyond repair. It looked like total, irreversible defeat. His destiny appeared completely derailed, his future irrevocably stolen, his very identity diminished. But even then, while human guards were posted outside his physical cell, God's favor was silently, powerfully, miraculously building a strategic move for his ultimate deliverance, a grand elevation he couldn't have foreseen or engineered on his own. Joseph's setback wasn't a punishment. It was a crucial, divinely ordained chapter in his journey, harboring a mystery of perfect divine timing, an incubation period for his purpose to truly blossom. It's the same for you, dear one. Your current setback, that confusing delay, that unexpected challenge, that seemingly wasted season, it harbors a similar mystery, a hidden purpose, a divine preparation. There are unseen hands, divine hands, diligently weaving deliverance and breakthrough through the very circumstances you are tempted to curse, to rage against, to wish away with all your might. God is using even the ugly, tangled, broken threads of your situation to create something breathtakingly beautiful, astonishingly strong, and deeply meaningful, a tapestry that will showcase His power and love in a way you couldn't have possibly imagined, a testimony to His unfailing artistry. Some of the greatest, most profound breakthroughs in our lives don't come from frantically searching for all the answers, tearing our hair out, trying to logically piece everything together, or pushing harder with sheer willpower to find a solution. Instead, they often arrive when we finally cease our striving, when we lay down our intellectual burdens and start quietly sitting with revelation. This means pausing, getting utterly still, quieting the incessant chatter of our minds, and deliberately opening ourselves, not to what our logical minds desperately want to figure out, but to what the Spirit, that gentle guide within us, wants to tenderly show us, to reveal to our hearts. It's a posture of quiet receptivity, an invitation for divine insight to descend, like a gentle dew, softening the hardened ground of our understanding. If that concept resonates deeply with you, if you feel a stirring, a quiet yes in your spirit that this is your next courageous step, then I truly believe the 10 hidden truths of Jesus' parables is exactly what you need in this season, a balm for your weary soul and a light for your path. It's a short, incredibly powerful ebook that's specifically designed to open up practical, spirit-led truths about areas we all grapple with in our daily lives. Understanding our relationship with money, experiencing profound healing and cultivating emotional clarity in a world that often feels chaotic, overwhelming, and confusing. It's about so much more than just accumulating knowledge. It's about receiving wisdom that empowers you to navigate daily life with greater peace, with deeper purpose, and with an unshakable sense of divine direction, a compass guided by the Spirit. The link to get your copy, your personal key to this deeper understanding, is conveniently located in the first comment of this video, but please know it's only available for a limited time, a precious window of opportunity, so grab it while you can, before this unique moment passes. This isn't just a book you'll read and forget. It's a doorway, an opening to deeper understanding and practical application of God's profound, life-altering wisdom in every facet of your beautiful, complex, and divinely purposed life. Now let's talk practically about how you can begin to consciously step into this incredible defense, this spiritual stronghold that has already been meticulously arranged for you, how you can actually experience it, not just as a comforting concept, but as a living reality in your daily life, transforming your every step. First, and this might very well be the hardest step for many of us, you need to release your white-knuckled grip on needing to know every single detail, every why, every how, every when. We are instinctively wired to want control, to understand the intricate mechanics of every situation, to grasp the full blueprint before we take a single step, to map out the entire journey. But this insatiable need for perfect clarity, this intellectual insistence, this relentless demand for certainty can actually hinder our faith, can act as a thick, obscuring veil over our spiritual eyes, preventing us from seeing what's truly there. Faith, true, living, vibrant faith, isn't proven by your ability to predict the future with unerring accuracy, or to logically explain every twist and turn of the journey as if it were a simple equation. Instead, it's powerfully proven by your willingness to simply walk forward, one step at a time, even when the terrain ahead is completely covered in a thick, dense mist, obscuring every landmark, every path, every visible signpost. Imagine being on a winding, unfamiliar path you can barely see, where each step feels uncertain, each footing tenuous, each breath a prayer. You can't see the turn ahead, or the obstacle lurking just beyond your sight, or even the ultimate destination, the final resting place. But you keep walking, not because you can see the path with your physical eyes, but because you absolutely trust the guide who walks faithfully with you, the one whose hand holds yours, the one who knows exactly where you're going, every dip and rise, every challenge and triumph, every hidden blessing along the way. This is about choosing to trust his boundless sovereignty over your limited understanding, his infinite wisdom over your finite perspective, his unfailing love over your deepest fears. Next, it's crucial to invite the Holy Spirit to gently but firmly expose any agreement you've unknowingly made with those insidious, cunning voices that constantly whisper, often disguised as your own thoughts. You're utterly alone in this. No one truly cares about what you're going through. You have to handle everything by yourself, with no help in sight. That's the very same lie, the exact same deceptive tactic that kept the mighty prophet Elijah running in debilitating fear from Jezebel, even after he had just witnessed an undeniable, fiery miracle on Mount Carmel, a public, spectacular demonstration of God's raw, unquestionable power. In his moment of intense pressure, physical exhaustion, and perceived isolation, he became blind, utterly oblivious to the legion of angels that were undoubtedly assigned along his path, to the divine provision that was continually sustained for him, appearing in the desert at his darkest hour, a meal sent by heaven itself. He focused intensely on the single human threat, Jezebel, and in doing so, he tragically forgot the vast, invisible heavenly host, the limitless power of God that had just been displayed. We, too, fall prey to this same human tendency. We focus intently on one person's disapproval, one significant setback, one looming financial challenge, one moment of perceived failure, and in that focused tunnel vision, we forget the vast invisible army of God surrounding us, the omnipresent help, the unfailing hand of our Father. As you surrender this deep-seated need for control, as you consciously give up the crushing burden of carrying it all by yourself, also commit to silencing that harsh, relentless inner judge. You know the one. It's that condemning voice that constantly tells you you've failed beyond recovery, that you've messed up too badly to ever be redeemed, that it's too late to turn things around, to find hope again, to reclaim your joy. That voice, my dear friend, is an absolute liar, a deceiver of the deepest kind, a direct opponent to the truth of God's grace. This isn't the end of your story. It's simply the turning of a page, a new chapter gracefully opening up before you, filled with possibility, redemption, and profound spiritual growth. God isn't finished with you, not by a long shot. Not when He has invested so much love and purpose in you, when He has breathed His very essence into your being. He's in the glorious business of new beginnings, of fresh starts that defy explanation, of profound, soul-deep redemption, no matter how many pages you think you've crumpled, torn, or stained in the past. Your past does not dictate your future with Him. His unfailing, transforming love does, always. Then allow God, in His tender mercy and wisdom, to lovingly reveal the moments you initially perceived as frustrating delays, those agonizing pauses where nothing seemed to be happening, where you felt utterly stuck in quicksand, spinning your wheels to no avail. These weren't roadblocks designed to stop you. They were strategic pauses, divine breathers, moments of sacred incubation that actively protected your destiny from premature exposure, from dangers you couldn't even perceive or comprehend at the time. Think about Moses, destined by God to lead millions, to deliver an entire nation from bondage, yet hidden away in Pharaoh's courts for decades, then as a humble shepherd in the desert for decades more, tending sheep. What seemed like an incredibly long detour, a period of obscurity, of being utterly forgotten by the world and his own people, was actually a critical, divinely ordained time of training and protection. His hiddenness wasn't a mark of shame or insignificance. It was His shield, preparing him, honing his character, strengthening his resolve, and protecting him from the dangers of stepping out before God's perfect, appointed timing. It built within him a deep, unshakable resilience and a profound, practical wisdom that only the wilderness, only quiet preparation can impart. Now, I invite you to consciously open your spiritual senses, to attune your heart and mind to the subtle, often surprising, quiet ways this divine protection manifests in your everyday life, to see beyond the obvious. It might show up in closed doors that at first felt incredibly painful, disappointing, or even like a personal rejection, shattering your immediate hopes, but later, in retrospect, made way for something far better, something more aligned with your truest purpose, a path you couldn't have imagined or designed for yourself. It could be in relationships that gently, almost imperceptibly drifted away, creating necessary, sometimes painful space for new, healthier, more supportive, and deeply resonant alliances to organically emerge into your life, filling you with renewed connection. Or perhaps it's in sudden, unexpected opportunities that arrive with a confirmation so obvious, so perfectly timed, so exquisitely tailored to your deepest needs that it's impossible to ignore, leaving you with a deep, abiding sense of peace, an inner knowing that this is truly, unmistakably from God, a direct, undeniable gift from His heart. These aren't mere coincidences, lucky breaks, or random occurrences. These are divine interventions, sacred whispers of His watchful care, His gentle hand guiding you, His unfailing presence guarding you, even when you aren't aware of it, even when you are lost in the mundane details of your day. I encourage you now, with all my heart, to invite the Holy Spirit, that gentle guide, that constant companion within you, to specifically show you areas where your faith has perhaps subtly settled for mere survival instead of bravely, boldly expecting supernatural safety. There's a world of difference between those two states, isn't there? Survival mode is about white-knuckling it through life, gritting your teeth, barely getting by, constantly bracing yourself, exhausted for the next hit, the next blow, the next challenge, living in a perpetual state of anxiety. Supernatural safety, on the other hand, is living with an unshakable inner knowing, a profound, settled peace in your spirit that you are deeply protected, actively guarded, and always abundantly provided for, even in the very midst of uncertainty, even when the ground beneath your feet feels unstable and the world around you seems to be crumbling. There's something deeper, something profoundly resilient and powerful, something truly eternal being built within your spirit right now in the crucible of your current circumstances, forged in the fires of adversity. This deeper strength, this unshakable spiritual muscle, can only grow and mature in the exposure of your current challenges, in the stretching of your comfort zones that feels uncomfortable, and in the very heart of your uncertainty, where human answers fail and God's strength shines brightest. It's in these vulnerable, uncomfortable, yet sacred spaces that true spiritual muscles are developed, that spiritual depth is forged, preparing you for all that is to come. The divine isn't just sending his mighty angels to stand guard around you, to form a protective perimeter. He's doing something even more profound, more intimately transformative. He's actively recalibrating your vision, adjusting your spiritual eyesight, gently removing the scales from your eyes so that you can finally see them, truly see them with the clarity of faith, standing guard even in those places where you once felt utterly abandoned, utterly alone, utterly forgotten. It's an awakening, a profound, life-altering shift from seeing only the natural threats that loom large to perceiving the supernatural defense that has always been there, unwavering and steadfast, waiting patiently for you to behold it with eyes of faith. If this word is resonating with your spirit, if you feel a deep pull, a quiet stirring, a sacred echo within you, please don't let it stop with you. Let it be a powerful catalyst for action, a ripple effect of hope that extends beyond your own heart. Set an intention right now. You can speak it out loud, letting your voice give it power. You can type it into the comments below, allowing your words to become a public declaration. Or you can simply declare it in the quiet sanctuary of your heart, where only you and God hear. Declare this profound truth over your life, over your circumstances, that the storm you're currently in has not come to finish you, to break you, or to utterly defeat you, but rather to reveal, with undeniable clarity and breathtaking beauty, who is truly, eternally covering you, holding you safe in his loving embrace. Stand in agreement for yourself, reclaiming your peace, your strength, your joy, and extend that agreement, that heartfelt prayer, to those you love and are deeply connected to, reclaiming what the winds of adversity have tried to scatter and steal. Maybe it's your peace that's been eroded, your joy that's been dimmed, your hope that's been fractured, your finances that feel strained and insufficient, your relationships that feel tattered and broken. Whatever the enemy has tried to steal, to unravel, to diminish, reclaim it now in faith, with a confident spirit, knowing that God is restoring all things. As you move through the rest of today and into tomorrow, actively look with intentionality, with a heart open and expectant for the small, subtle, sacred signs of this divine covering. They are everywhere, truly, once you attune yourself to them, once your spiritual eyes are open and searching. It might be a message that arrives at precisely the right time, exactly what you needed to hear, a word of affirmation or guidance that cuts through the noise. It could be a sudden, unexpected sense of peace washing over you when you fully expected panic or crippling anxiety, a quiet knowing that all is well, a calming of your inner tempest. Or perhaps it's a gentle, loving reminder, a simple confirmation from an unexpected source that you are seen, that you are heard, and that you are deeply, profoundly cared for, even when you feel like you're blending invisibly into the background, lost in the crowd. If this message has spoken to your heart, truly touched you in some profound way, I urge you, with a genuine spirit of love, to share it with someone else. Someone in your life who needs to know, right now, in their moment of struggle, that they are not unguarded or forgotten. Be that messenger of hope, that conduit of divine truth, a vessel through which God's comfort can flow. Confirm it here for yourself, in your own spirit, letting it settle deep within, and confirm it for all those others who are quietly, perhaps desperately, asking in the silence of their hearts if heaven has withdrawn its presence, if God has somehow pulled back, if they've been left to fend for themselves, abandoned to the storm. The resounding, unwavering answer, my beloved, is a firm, emphatic no. He hasn't. He is closer than ever, nearer than your very breath, more present than the beat of your own heart. Tonight, before you lay your precious head down to rest, take a moment. Get still, take a deep cleansing breath, release all the day's burdens, and pray this simple but incredibly powerful prayer with me, letting each word sink into the very depths of your soul, transforming your perspective, anchoring you in His truth. God, I wholeheartedly receive the protection you've specifically dispatched for me, tailored for my unique journey. I open my spiritual eyes to truly see your mighty armies, fiery and majestic, standing in the midst of my storm, guarding my every step. I choose to trust, deeply and completely, with every fiber of my being, that what felt like utter destruction, what appeared to be my undoing, is, in reality, setting the perfect ground, preparing the sacred space for my greatest breakthrough, for a divine unfolding, for a testimony of your unwavering love and power. Amen.